For those of you who are just now watching my weekly Trauma to Triumph Tuesday Instagram Live, welcome. And thank you for tuning in to another dynamic episode. And I've been stringing y'all along all day. I just posted that there was a question mark. Who should we have tonight? Well, we have an amazing, phenomenal woman. She's an R&B recording artist. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's some many amazing things. But as you know, most times greatness does not come without trauma, trials, and tribulations along the way. And we're going to talk about that with my girl, Tyra Levone. But before we get to Tyra, let me go back a little bit and introduce myself. I am Terry Long. I am the woman behind the Trauma2Triumph project. And I like to call it the T2T project. I have an amazing website. You can check me out online, www.trauma2triumph.com. And what is this? This is a movement. This is a docuseries in the making. And we are going to change the lives of many people in a positive way, heal them through the sharing of our stories of how we went through life trauma and made it to the other side, and we are living triumphantly. Let me break it down a little bit though, because I don't want people to misconstrue trauma or triumph, and I don't want anyone to put it in a box. As you know, if you've been watching these weekly episodes, trauma can mean different things. Trauma can mean something that happens to you as a child. Trauma can mean something happened to you medically. It could mean grieving, surviving a traumatic death in your family or someone close to you. Trauma comes in many different forms. And actually, a lot of people, myself included, we have trauma happen at different intervals of our lives. You know, so there may have been trauma as a little girl, and then trauma, something totally different as a teenager, trauma as a young woman, different things. You know, some people go through traumatic emotional stress when they, let's say, have had to have an abortion. So I don't want to underestimate anybody's trauma. It can mean something different for different people at different intervals of your life, right? I've gone through the trauma of divorce. I've gone through trauma of a very difficult pregnancy where one of my babies came out not breathing. Really, in real life, where they had to put the things on you and go toot, like yes. I've gone through trauma of being habitually cheated on. I've gone through trauma of getting an STD as a married lady. Not now. This is I'm talking about in my 20s, y'all. So I've talked openly about a lot of my different periods of life of trauma. Go to my Trauma2Triumph YouTube channel and you can hear for yourself. I've talked about my own trauma, at least on 2 of these episodes. So that's what this project is all about. And these weekly Trauma2Triumph Tuesday Instagram Lives are a way to build content for this amazing project. So we've had some amazing people every week. Every Tuesday we do this. I think I've missed maybe 2 since April, y'all. I have been very consistent, and I have done this every week since April. And it takes consistency to make something great. And so we're also filming inside of the studio. So that's where all of your donations have been going to. Filming inside of the studio, making sure we have makeup artists, making sure that we have a camera team. And, you know, so I would love to get another film date scheduled. And we need to get merchandise. We need to get we need to pop up at some of these women's conventions across the world. And starting in January, we're going to start incorporating men. And my first guest, I'm not going to say who it's going to be, but he's phenomenal. And Yeah, that's going to be the kickoff to incorporating men. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, honey. Yes, y'all. So I'm excited about many things. Mark your calendars for March the 4th. March the 4th will be our very first Trauma to Triumph brunch slash symposium. It's going to be so awesome. March the 4th. We're only going to have 100 tickets. So make sure when we do the early bird specials, you jump on it. 100 tickets, and it's going to go fast. People have been really looking forward to it. March the 4th. Mark your calendars for that. All right, so I think we can get started. I haven't seen Tyra join Instagram yet. She did send me a message saying she's ready. Tyra, I need you to be on Instagram so that I can send you a request. So I need you to be active on Instagram, ma'am, and I can send you a request. Can someone tell Tyra to just go on her phone, open Instagram like you're about to do a reel? Just go on Instagram. That's all I need you to do. Like, go to your Instagram page and just start scrolling. Just pretend like you need to get something. You're looking for something on Instagram. Once I see you on Instagram, I'm going to send you a request. And the request is going to bring you into the my live feed. So until then, y'all, let's talk about some of the amazing things that are coming down the pike for Trauma to Triumph. The last time that we were in the production studio filming, I'm telling you, even on these weekly calls, we've shared so many tears, we share so many laughs together, and we are really healing other people. I am getting so many amazing emails. I'm getting so many amazing people are sending me messages talking about how one or more of these episodes have been life-changing for them. And whenever I get that, it's more confirmation from God to keep going. Keep going, keep going. So Tyra, you don't have to do anything except go on Instagram. If she has to click on my live. Okay. So go on Instagram and then go to Trauma to Triumph. Yeah, go to my page. Pretend like you're looking for one of my pictures on Trauma to Triumph. Yes, do that, please. Somebody help my girl Ty. There she go. There she is. All right. We'll get you together, girl. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Y'all got me? You got me?
Yes!
Tyra terrible with this, hold on, Tyra upside down.
Tyra is getting it together, y'all.
Tyra is all kind of different shapes.
Yes, Tyra got her tree all ready too.
Yes, you like that? You like that? You like
Yes.
that? Check her
Hello,
out.
hello, hello, hello. You missed
Hi.
all of the formal introduction and some of our chit chat, but just real quickly, as you know, Trauma to Triumph is a project where we're developing a docu-series composed and compiled of stories from women and soon men as well, who we're going to heal people through the sharing of our stories. So many of
Right.
have gone through different things in our lives, and so many people are suffering in silence. So many people are I always like to say there are too many unhealed souls in the graveyards, and we don't want that anymore.
Right.
We want to leave a legacy of wisdom through the sharing of our stories.
Right.
And it helps heal people in ways that I never even imagined. And so this is a part of that. This is my weekly Instagram lives, and this is
Right.
what we do to build content for our project Trauma to Triumph. So I am very, very
Oh,
grateful for your yes. Thank you for
oh,
joining
you're
Trauma to
welcome.
Triumph tonight, you all. I've already kind of introduced you, Tyra, but I will let you do a more formal introduction of just who you are today as a woman. Who is Tyra Levone? Tell them who you are, and then we'll take it back a little bit and talk a little more about some of the trauma that occurred in your life and how you made it through.
How do I say who I am? Who am I?
Who are you?
I'm every woman It's all in me.
Okay.
Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally.
That's who you
Ha!
are.
That's who I am.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you, first of all, for having me in our impromptu meeting.
Yes.
Great, right? That's the
Yes.
best. I am many things. I am first a child of the Most High. Most proud of that.
Yes.
I am a mother of 3 children. I am an entrepreneur. I am a artist, a writer, producer, a musician. I'm so many things. I
Yes.
own several businesses, but I am living proof that you can go through something tragic and you can still shine.
Yes.
I have a song on my project called Shine, and the song talks about what my parents instilled in me, which was to shine even when you don't feel bright. You know,
Mm.
nobody has to know. The Bible even talks about that.
Yep.
When people are fasting, it talks about how God don't want you to walk around with your lips all chapped and ashy. Walk around and represent, even though you're in pain inside, you're representing the power that's within you. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's who I am.
That's who you are.
Yes.
You just gave me goosebumps. Woo.
Yes.
Yes.
Goosey, goosey.
But what I was saying to people, Tyra, before you joined is that, and I was telling them how amazing you are. See, I was talking
Oh,
all this great stuff
you
about you,
so
and I
sweet.
said, but
While
you
I'm trying to
know,
figure out how to get on, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to? Am I waiting for an invite?
you
Terrible.
figured it out though.
I did. I
But I
did.
was saying, Tyra, that, anything great comes with some bumps and bruises along the way, right?
Yes, indeed.
And
Majorly.
so you didn't get to be this phenomenal woman that we see right now on
Mm-mm.
this Instagram Live without some life trauma.
That's it. So,
And so let's
yeah.
talk about it. Let's
So,
unwrap it. Let's do it.
you know what I'm thinking about, Terry, right? Let's do it. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it though. So, I'm sorry,
Yes.
y'all.
Let's
We silly.
unwrap.
Let's unwrap. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Take it back.
I always say that I don't look like what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you many tragedies in my life. Honestly, I've been through so much, but I don't dwell in that. I'm so blessed. So years ago, 2005 to be exact, I found out in January that my mother was dying. And my mom was like, lady of all ladies. Like she was so poised and gentle and she was just smooth. She was all of that, right? And, I always say, even in my shows, that I'm a mixture of my mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
My mother
You
was a
do.
lady. My mother was a lady, but when I tell you my father was a ninja, he was something. He was a force to be reckoned with, right?
Okay.
So, and I'm an even mix,
You're the
but
perfect blend.
ooh, baby. But finding out that my mother was dying in January of 2005 and then losing her in February was like this is like a joke, right? So my mom had cancer. Let's go back, give you a quick history. My mother found out she had cancer the year I graduated from high school, which was
Okay.
19, none of y'all business. But anyway, found out she had cancer. She lived for 10 years. After the first surgery, she had one of her breasts removed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it came back in the other. Back then in the 90s, they didn't do all that, take all the breast off, give you all this beautification and everything. They took it off, gave you a fake bra, and go on about your business,
Right.
right? So she only took one breast off. It came back 10 years later in the other breast, of course. So she went through the whole process. She did not remove the second breast. Henceforth, it moved to her brain. And the
Mm.
way we found out it moved to her brain is I noticed, her eye would be sleepy. And I asked her one day, I said, Mom, why is your eye, looking like it's closing? And she knew. She knew. That's what was so crazy. She knew. And she said, oh, it's just, from the chemo and the cancer, blah, blah, blah. She had her stories together.
Uh-huh.
And I left there one day and my dad called me upset and was like, come back. Something's wrong with your mother. And when I came back, she had, I guess, like a tremor, seizure of some sort. And he said her hand just went up in the air. And then she kind of like her eyes. So that's how we found out that it had gone to her brain. Well, fast forwarding, she lived 5 years with brain cancer. And even her doctor said, I don't know what this woman, where she comes from or what she is fighting for. He said, but I've never had a patient live for 5 years with brain cancer. But what was amazing, Terry, is she didn't live 5 years with brain cancer. She lived amazing, on top, happy, joyful for 5 years. To the point, Terry, that we didn't even know she was dying. That's how good she was. She never complained. She didn't sit around. She wasn't needy. You know, she was a doer. She would get in her car, drive to her mother's house in Pennsylvania. She traveled. And I was so blessed to take the last trip with her. We took a cruise, our family. And even on the cruise, I knew she was slowing down. You know, I could see that it was having an effect on her, but still didn't know she was dying. I took her to Jericho. I think that's the church up on Landover Road. I took her to the play. They have the big Christmas play, her and my kids. And she was walking and was heading off the embankment and didn't even realize she was walking towards the edge of it. And I said, Mom. And she was like, what's wrong? And I said, you're getting ready to fall off the hill. And she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to your doctor's appointment with you next time. Something's not right. And she was like, no, I'm fine. Well, January is when I find out again that she's dying. And the doctor's like, well, where have you been? Like, she's been dying for 5 years. And I'm like, my dad brings her to these appointments every week. But he was like, ma'am, she comes in the office every week by herself and leaves by herself. So she was making my dad sit in the car because she didn't want them to tell him she was dying. So anyway, my mom passes in February. Devastating, to say the least. Like, I can't even put in words what it was to watch her die. And she lived here. I moved her here because I did hair, and it was so hard trying to make sure she was good around the corner and get back here and do clients. And then I was a single mother with my 2 kids. And so I told my dad, I said, you know what? She has to come here with me. Because he was trying to work to do what he needed to do, and he just couldn't make it all happen. So she came over here, and I'm going to say, I think it was the week and a half before she died. She just said to me, she was like, I just want to go home. And I was hurt. I was in my feelings like, I'm a good daughter. I take good care of you. You know, I'm
right. Like, why
to your every need. Oh, I was in my feelings, baby. And she said, baby, you are the most amazing daughter that a mother could ask for. She said, but I just want to sleep in my own bed. So, you know, broke my heart, but I let her go home. You know, I was like, all right, you know, she want to go home, I'm going to do what she asks. And she died the next week. And in my heart, I know that she knew she was dying. She knew. So she was like, if I die in this girl's house, she's never going to sleep here again. So I guess she figured, let me get out of here. So she leaves, goes on to glory, and I bury her. And I'm like, I'm trying, you know, it's so much going on. It's almost like when things happen, you always have so much. The dynamics were so crazy. I had friendships that were just in turmoil, just so much. My brother was like a handful, to say the least, right? I had these 2 kids, and I'm really trying to ration through my emotions, but at the same time, I'm a single mother with little kids who loved my mother. So I can't show them that. So now I'm not really healing.
Yeah, how do you get to grieve?
You couldn't grieve, so I'm bottling at that point. I'm bottling and I'm hiding, but I can feel the top get ready to come off, right? So I decide, you know, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna move to Florida. So I go on a mission to move to Florida. I go to Florida, I put down deposit on a house and having a house built, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get an apartment until my house is ready, and I'm looking for a job. I was doing real estate, My dad is like, please don't, like, I don't want you to leave,
Right.
And I'm not seeing, Terry, what was right before my eyes is that my father was dying. Because as much as children, you don't realize that to be together 40, 50 years, my mother was his heart. So here I am getting ready to leave and take his grandkids to Florida, right?
He's dying of a broken heart right in the
And
midst
he
of
is
all of it.
dying right beneath my eyes. And I'm like, I'm so busy trying to keep my own self together that I'm not realizing, like, Tyra, he needs you. But the thing was, Terry, my father was such a mother fish. Anybody that knew him would have never thought that he would just quit and just, you know what I mean, just let go.
Right.
But he was human. He was human. So I go to Florida to sign my settlement papers for my house. And it was so funny. My dad, I'll never forget him telling me, I don't think you should buy this house, Tyra. The market is getting ready to crash. I told you this was '05.
Mm-hmm.
And my father was so wise. Oh, my goodness. To know him was to love him, but you would have never known that he had dropped out of school in the 8th grade. He was so educated. He could not stand ignorance. He hated that in us. Like, he was always like, we have to be above board in our speaking, in our education, everything. So to talk to him, you would never know that he had dropped out of school because he just educated himself always. So he was like, Tyra, I've seen this before. I don't think you should buy this house. Well, I'm thinking it's just, you don't want me to leave.
Right.
So I'm like, Daddy, look, it's going to be fine. You can come here, hang out with us. It's not like I'm going to be here all the time. I'll come back and forth. So he never said a word.
And what,
I
real
get
quick,
on.
why Florida? What, did you have family?
No, I knew no one at all. I love Florida. I'm
Okay.
going back. I'm going back again. So I go to Florida. I have a job interview that I have to go to, and I'm going to settlement. So I go for maybe about 3-4 days. My kids are with my father. While I'm there, I finished a song that I had written about my mother that I sing all the time, called Missing You. You've heard me
Mm.
perform that. I finished it there, and I was so excited to come back home and let my father hear it. And I never forget, I was sitting in, because I went and signed my paperwork for the apartment. So I was actually sitting in the apartment, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to love this song, but it's going to break his heart to hear it. But I was so hyped to get home. So, I got on the plane. I talked to my dad. And the last conversation we had, when he told me not to buy this house, I fussed at him. Because my father he was educated. He was intriguing. Like, he was just, I don't even really know how to put him in human form. Because to me, my father was King Kong. For
Yeah.
real. Like what Denzel Washington say, King Kong ain't got shit on me,
Nothing.
right?
Right.
That was to me, that was my father. There was nothing he couldn't do. And but he was negative. He always he worried. Not negative in the sense, he always did. He was positive and encouraging, but he always worried. He always remembered the bad stuff, like, Tyra, you shouldn't do that. I'm telling you, I remember when. And it's like, Daddy, come on.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, I called my father Daddy. And a lot of people call their dads Daddy. I called my father Daddy.
Daddy.
And it was this joke I had, and my girlfriend would always laugh. So when I was mad at him, I didn't want to call him Daddy. So I would call him Danny. But he would never know because it sounded just like
Daddy.
Daddy. So I would say, yes, Danny. And he had no clue. But so I fussed at him. I was like, Daddy, I said, you're always pessimistic about everything. I said, I do everything. I do anything you ask me to do. I'm just asking you to support me in this. And he was like, that's fine, Tyra. Okay. Just get the house if you want the damn house.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I'll see you in a little bit. Because I'm getting ready to fly home to get my kids there with him.
Right.
Get on the plane. I'm on the plane. I'm always listening to my music. I'm singing, I'm humming, and I'm listening, and I'm closing my eyes. And it was like, as clear as I'm looking at you, I saw myself singing at my father's funeral. And in my head, I'm thinking, no, 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 Lord, no. So I open my eyes and I'm looking around and I'm like, why is this picture in my mind? But when I say it was so clear, it was just eerie. So I have anxiety. So of course I'm on this plane and I'm like, I'm trying to get off. I said, how long do we have? And the lady was like, man, we're about to land in a few. Just, are you okay? Do you need help? And I'm like, I just need to get off the plane. So I'm trying to, keep my breath in control because I'll have an anxiety attack and go off in a minute. So I'm like, okay, come on. So we get off the plane. My oldest two kids' father picks me up. And he said, how was your flight? And I'm devastated. And I don't really know how to describe it. I said, well, it was good up until the end. I said, but I'll tell you about it later. We leave in VW Parkway, driving down. We get to Greenbelt. My daughter calls and says, Mommy, we can't find Granddad. And I said, what do you mean, Kay, you can't find Granddad? And she was like, we can't find him. I said, well, he's not in his room? Is he in the bathroom? She's like, no, we looked everywhere. Like, that's weird. I said, well, I know he didn't leave y'all, Kayla. I said, he's not downstairs with Uncle Tony. She was like, no, he's not downstairs. So I said, well, go outside and see. Maybe he's working, on a car or something. Go outside and see. And she said, Manny, she told my son, go outside and see if you see Granddad working on the car. So he says, he comes back in the house and I can tell by his voice that something's not right. And he's like, yeah, he's out there, but he's laying down. I said, Kayla, go outside and call Granddad's name. So she goes out there and she says, she's whispering. She says, Granddad. And I said, Kayla, call him louder. He probably can't hear you. And she says, Granddad. And I'm like, go in the house and get Uncle Tony and call 911. So, I'm rushing. I'm telling my kid's father, please, drive faster. And he's like, Tyra, what's wrong? And I said, if this is what I think it is, remind me to tell you what happened on the plane. So we're driving. I swear to God, it felt like we were in the Flintstone car. I'm like, if you don't drive faster. So we get to White House Road, and I think before he stopped, Terry, I had dived out the car and started running. And got back there, and my dad was laying on the ground across the car ramp. And I'm thinking, and I remember literally looking at him, and I said, this has to be a fucking joke. This had to be a joke. I'm like, get up, Daddy. And he's laying there, and I'm trying to move him, but simultaneously the ambulance is pulling up. So they pull up, and I'm pulling on him, and they're like, no, don't move him. And I'm like, get him up. He's in the sun. Get him up. And they're like, okay, we got it, baby. We got him. Just relax. So I went in the shed, which is where he was, and it was almost like my spirit just said, be at peace. And I'm just like, this has to be a joke. This literally has to be a joke. So I know the routine because I have friends who are in the EMS. So of course, they do the pretend, make it look like he's breathing. And, I'm standing there and I'm trying to keep my composure. But at this point, I'm like, just get him out the sun. Just get him out the sun. So they put him in the ambulance, take him on, and we're just standing there. My brother's standing there. I'm yelling at him like, where were you? And I think inside at that point, I was literally empty. Everything in me just I feel like everything in me disappeared. Every emotion, everything, it just all disappeared. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. When my mom was dying, I never cried. I did not cry until the next day when I woke up and realized this is real. Like, she's really gone. Like, I woke up screaming. So, um, buried my dad. So that was August. So I buried them I think it was almost 5.5 months apart. February 18th, August 23rd. And I packed my little house up and I said, you know what? I'm gone. I'm out. I don't have anything to be here for. Me and my kids are gone. And we left. We went to Florida and we had a ball. We really did. We did. We lived it up. We ate and we chilled and we swam, and it was amazing. We flew back and forth. If I wanted to come home, I came home. It was fun, watching my house be built, and my kids were just enjoying themselves, I guess, to the best of their ability amidst what had just happened. And I stayed for a while. I think I was there almost a year, and it was just hard raising them, being by myself, and then the commute back and forth because my business was still here. My brother was living at the time, and that also was just turmoil dealing with him and him trying to figure out his bearings without his parents. It was a lot. It was a lot. And then, fast forward, shortly after that, I buried my sister, my grandmother, and then my brother. So, that's why I say to people who have their parents, I don't care how messed up they are. I had a girlfriend one time say to me, I hate my mother. And I was so shocked because first of all, she's a woman of God. And I was like, what did you say? I said, don't ever, ever let me hear you say that. I said, what I wouldn't give to have my mother living, to be an asshole or pain in my butt, whatever she wants to be, like, to say you hate your mother is like, and I feel bad because I say to people, I felt bad when my father died because I remember being a little girl saying, I hope he died. I hope he died. You get a beating and you mad, and you're like, I hope he died. When he died, I was like, I was just playing, God. But I guess God said, girl, that was 30 years ago.
That was 30-some years ago.
It was a whole little girl, But the guilt you feel when your parents die from the things that you do and say or don't do and say is so overwhelming. But fast forward to today, there were things I believe that God did in perfect order amidst my parents dying. My mother, at the time I was in a relationship with a man who was he was not a good man. He just wasn't, and I think God knew that if I knew my mother was going to die, I would have fought to hold on to him. So he hit it right in front of my eyes. He hit it. I saw it. I saw it. Like when I think about now, I remember going to the bathroom and she would make a mess in the bathroom because she couldn't get to the bathroom fast enough. And I was mad at her. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you getting lazy. The nerve of you, heifer. I'm trying to hold my bowels together, right? The signs were there, but God knew that he had to shield me in order for me to find the strength to walk away from something that was completely hindering my life.
Yeah.
And when my dad died, as I said, he was, he picked me up from the airport. And shortly after that, I just one day looked at him and I was just like, I'm done. Like, my parents would be appalled you know.
Yeah.
So the person that I am today,
Oh,
uh, four works of art, you know, albums out, um, my own business, thriving business, growing other businesses, raising my youngest child, still a single mother, you know. And my mom said to me one day, she said, Tyra, you have accomplished more by yourself than many women who are double and triple your age will ever in a lifetime. And I owe everything that I am to them, you know, and years and years of hurt. I mean, things people, I would never tell people that I went through in this house. You know, that's why I make sure that my house is home. When people come here, I want you to feel welcome because this is my haven. It
right.
really is. And I grew as a woman. I really did in this house. I grew in so many ways, and I had to really shoulder a lot, and I learned a lot from friendships, you know, counting on people, you know. I had to learn through failed friendships, failed marriage, failed family ships that you better not expect nothing of a person. You
Yeah.
you better learn to count on yourself,
Yeah.
literally, because family, friends, husbands, wives, kids, they will let you down.
They will all
They
disappoint
will
you.
all disappoint you, but I thank God that through it all, I am confident about standing on my own, and I'm okay with that. Without my if this is how I look at it, Terry. If I can live without my mother and father,
Mm,
baby, you are nobody. You're nobody to me, you know. They were my foundation and you are nothing, you know. So that's how I can go through life and lose family members, lose friendships, and it's okay. It's no love loss, lose anything, situations, jobs, because I always have to always replay. You lost your mother and you lived. You lost your father and you
5 months
lived.
after that, you lost your
Yeah,
father.
and you lived. And the thing is, Terry, I didn't just survive. I'm living. There's a difference. Some people survive. I'm surviving. I'm okay. No, baby, I'm living. I'm living because I always say that that which is supposed to be can't go. God won't allow it to go. I don't care how much you try to push it away. God gonna bring it right back to you. And I just believe that in my heart. And that which God says can't be there, God gonna get it out. I don't care how much pain and suffering you have to go through. Something that God does not want in your life, He will remove. He will
Mm,
remove. He will remove. So yeah. Uh, but yeah, today, um, I
wow.
hope everybody on here got their tickets to Blues Alley coming up.
Yes.
It's coming. She is living, okay? She's living. She's not
She
a
is
I am not a
living.
survivor. I'm not a survivor of anything, okay? There are people, my girlfriend knows a young lady, and I always think of her. She was way younger than me. I think I was 33 when my parents passed. One of my best friends, Ingrid, lost her mother. She was 21.
Mm.
But my other best friend,
Ooh.
her one of her cousin's girlfriends, parents both died together in a car crash. Like they went off I think it was the bridge or something in Florida. And when she told me that story, I was like, and here I am in my feelings. My parents died 5 months apart. This girl, as a child, like she was, I think she might have been 20. I don't recall exactly, but she was young. Lost both of her parents at one time. So, as tragic as most stories are, many of us have tragedies that we don't even realize they're
Yeah.
tragedies. But
Yeah.
I think the triumph in it all is always the fact that you choose to live.
You
And
love
I choose
her.
to live. I'm not dying to anything but my own self. I want to die to bad habits, you know, die to um, insecurities about life and things are just gonna be. And
Mm.
it's funny because I have I go to counseling, and I was talking to my counselor. earlier today, and I told her about this, and she was like, how do you feel being and doing all the things that you do, but yet having a counselor? And I said, good. I can tell you whatever I want to tell you outside of I'm gonna kill myself, and you gotta keep it to yourself.
Yep.
So she, I love the fact that I can get an honest opinion from somebody. And I say that to people to say there's nothing wrong. Black people look at counseling and help as being something is wrong with you. I'm
Uh-huh.
perfectly sane, honey. As my counselor says, you are probably one of the most sane people I talk to. But I believe we all need to have that room to be naked.
Right.
To really just be naked and to get someone else's unbiased opinion. Like they don't have, they have no, no stake in your life. They're just there to help you. So
Right.
I urge people to get, help. Have somebody, I love having the people that I have that I can talk to. We talk about real stuff, right?
Talk about real stuff.
And
Yep.
anybody that knows me knows that one thing I am not is phony. Because the truth is, I don't really care what you think. And that's how I cannot be phony, because I could care less what people think about me. And I love that. I
I
love that
love it.
about
Not
myself.
there's a sense of freedom that comes with that. Not
Yes,
giving
yes.
two. Stan always says to me, he says to my detriment, he said, you don't give zero fucks about my,
Mm-mm.
and I'm
Mm-mm.
like, I
I don't. I
don't.
don't. Love it or list it. That's how I feel. It's
Yeah.
okay. And you know what? It's funny because when I think about where my life is now and I think about my mother, gosh, she was like, she had, it's funny because Ingrid always says to me, your spirit is so, how do you always hear from God? And I said, I don't know. It's the weirdest. I tell people, I used to tell my baby that worked for me, Tamia, she would always say, something told me. I said, no, something didn't tell you nothing. The Holy Spirit told you, right? So have you ever had something sitting on the corner and something told you, move that or you're going to knock it down? And people don't realize that's the Holy Spirit. I remember I always tell the story about
Absolutely.
I put all these white comforters on my bed. I'm like, I go to the hotel. I want my room to be white, winter white, right? I
Yep.
love white. And I put this comforter on my bed. I'm getting in my bed working. I done made me some spaghetti, baby. I'm about to get it in, right? My spirit says, move that plate, you're gonna knock it over. So guess what smart Tyra do? I scoop the plate over because I know better, right? No, I'm good. I'm gonna scoop the plate over. I finished getting my stuff because I'm about to sit down and get it in, chop it up, do some work in my bed and watch a movie, and bam! Guess what I did? Knock
That
that freaking spaghetti on my white
messed them white, that nice
baby.
white comforter up.
When I tell you I was livid, but what happens is you learn. Once you go through that a few times, when you get that nudge, like, hey, don't do that. That right there gonna go bad.
Yeah, listen.
You gotta listen. You gotta listen. I mean, I could be in the store and something happened, and I always remember I was saying about my mom. She used to say to me, Tyra, you have a personality like your father. Though you are so much like me, you have your father's personality. And you just have to know in your life that people are going to love you or hate you. She said, but please know that it's not about nothing that you do, because you'll give a person your last. It's nothing about what you do. She said, it's what you are.
Who you
And
are.
I didn't understand that because I was just a teenager. I was like, Mom, what are you talking about? She was just like, just know that your heart for people is always going to be different than their heart for you.
Mm,
And I love that. I'm okay. I've learned to be comfortable in my shoes with who I am.
yeah.
So
I like that.
that's it.
I love that actually.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that. And
Yep.
so, as we wrap this up, if there were one key piece of advice or just life, people say experience is the best teacher. I
Hmm.
love that. But wisdom, once you gain the experiences, then you have this thing called wisdom to me. And so there's levels.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one piece of wisdom, if you had one, that you would share with someone who's trying to overcome the type of grief that people can't even imagine? Losing both parents within 5 months. So,
Mm-hmm.
people who lose a child or a sibling or something like that. What was something that, really got you to have that mindset and that I'm going to live. I'm not going to survive. I'm going to live. I'm going to continue writing music. I'm going to continue singing my heart out. What was it?
A lot of what I do today, the push, the fuel behind what I am and where I go, how I move today is really my kids. You know,
Mhm.
my youngest is the only one who lives here with me. And I don't know if she realizes, and I say to her a lot, it's hard sometimes because she is the epitome of my mother. She is graceful like my mother. She crosses her legs. You know, she has her this everything about her. She moves like her. Um, she has a sweetness and a stankness about her, just like my mother. Like my mother could be sweet as gold, but she sure could be a stank thing, right? But everything that I do or did from the day my mother and father closed their eyes was to the glory of them. You know, I do all things to the glory of God, but it was, I always say to my oldest two kids, make Nana and Granddad proud. I feel good sitting here to know that my mother and father would be proud of me. That brings me joy. And I say to people, you got to learn to let go. Let go of stuff. Like, I love the fact that the woman I am today, I don't have any beef with anybody. I don't hate anybody. Um, my kids' fathers, I didn't think they were the greatest guys, but God bless you. Thank you for my kids, and I
Yeah.
wish you nothing but the best. You know what I mean? Because I realized I wasn't the greatest person. Probably I have issues, but I learned to master letting go.
Yeah.
Like some people are like, oh, I'm petty. Well, you're gonna be petty and irritated and always on edge because you're holding on to dumb stuff. I say to you again, Terry, I don't really care what you think about me.
Yeah.
I don't. You don't pay my bills. You don't feed me. You
Yeah.
do nothing. What I am and who I am because of the grace of God and because of the two parents that He sent my life through. So you can't do anything to me. So that's what I would say to people. You have to learn to let go and find your redemption. There's something that redeems you. I have a song on my CD called Redemption. Music is my redemption. Painting. I love tearing up stuff and fixing stuff. People always say, girl, you make me tired. Well, get away from me then. I ain't gonna sit down so you not tired. It doesn't bother me. It is what brings me peace. So I'm okay with decorating the tree and fixing. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Get maybe you should find your redemption instead of trying to poop on mine. You know what I mean? People
You
always
one of
got
the only
something to
people to make me cry and laugh in the same five
girl,
minute,
because
the same 5 minute window.
people always got something to say, Terry. And I say to people sometimes, right now in society, we need to learn to shut up. Shut up and look your own self in the mirror and figure out your junk instead
Yeah.
of always trying to mess with somebody else about theirs. But
Yeah.
let go. That's what
Let
I would tell
go.
people. Let go and just find your happy space and live in it. Live in it. I am intentional about what I do and who I am. That's
I
it.
love it. And one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I love that you said before I let you go is not caring about what others think about you. That's so
Mm-mm.
important to those of
Mm-mm.
you all who are on this live feed. and those who are going to listen later. It may be easier said than done, but I'm telling you, there's a level of freedom, of liberation that comes
Mm,
with not
mm,
caring what people think. And I
mm-hmm.
live in that every day, so much so that, my kids or Stan or someone be like, you don't care what people say? You don't care what they think? No.
Mm-mm,
This is
mm-mm.
this
I
is
tell my daughter
this
that
is
all
who
the
it is.
time.
This is what it is.
I tell my baby girl that all the time. I said, and I hate that. Yeah, I try. I'm working. My father was a whole potty mouth, and I try. I work on it. I work on it, but it's a flaw. It's okay.
Yep.
But I always tell her, she's young, and I say, you know what? If I could take my head off and put it on your body, you be the baddest bitch walking. But honey, when I tell you, I tell my daughter all the time, F them.
Yep.
So who cares what they think? Do you, be you, live your life. Nobody does any. I am what does for you. That's it. You ain't got to worry about what anybody else. Anything you need, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get it for you. So you don't have to worry about that. Live your life. Be intentional. These kids don't realize they have the world at their feet.
Yeah.
All you got to do is make a plan and live it, and stop smoking all the time. You can't focus when you smoke all the time. Shit, hate it. But anyway, yeah. But I don't. I just feel like a lot of people care a lot. And let me say this about this social media. Y'all get the hell off social media lying all the time. Stop lying and pretending like you got something going on that you don't, and your life is something that is. Stop, because you have people watching you who are not as strong as you, and they're killing themselves. They're running their credit cards up because they think you falling out of control. You don't even have no furniture in your damn house. Like, stop it. My
Stop.
father used to say, you got these expensive cars and you don't have no money to put gas in the tank. I hate, if it
Make it
was
make sense,
not
right?
if it was not for what I do for a
Your
living, I would
business.
not, yeah, I would not be on social media. I think it is, and I watch people, it's just a habit. You just on there scrolling. Like, I'm sorry, you trying to figure out how to fix the leak in your house, but you watching what Terry doing at her house with. Mind your business and focus. Focus.
Yes.
It's so irritating, but it's so many things, but I do. I love the skin that I'm in. I love the woman, that I am. And I am that honestly because I don't give, what you say, Terry, to what?
You don't give 2, 3, 4, 5, 17 F's.
That's it. Look, we're gonna be better with it. Yes, I don't. What I have, and what I don't, obviously I don't need it. I
That's
don't need
right.
it.
That's
So
right. Well, once again, Tyra, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the T2T project. You
thank
have you have
you.
you have made my heart smile. We have shared tears. We have laughed, and
Yes.
I am I am positive that we have healed at least one person, if
That's
not
it.
more.
That's it.
At least
Uh,
one has been
look.
touched and moved by your strength and your
Mm,
determination to live. So if they were not walking
mm,
away with anything else, it is the encouragement that if she can do that and she lost both of her parents within 5 months,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to pick myself up and I'm
That's
going
it.
to live. And I
That's
thank
it.
you for that.
You are so welcome, sweetheart, and God bless.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, whoever you are, just pick yourself up. And it's one day at a time. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just, if my focus every day is, I want to get through today and just
This
be
day,
happy. Hey,
this
yep, this
let's
day.
let's do
God
this
gives you
day.
enough grace for this day. Just
Yeah.
get through this day. And then when you get through it and you accomplish something, you can wake up the next day and say, oh my God, I did it. Let
Yes.
me do it again.
Let me do it
Let
again.
me do it again.
One day
It's
at a
one
time.
day,
That's what I say. One day at a
at
time.
a time, one
Can't worry
step at a
about
time.
tomorrow yet. It's not here. Let's do
Mm-mm.
today first.
That's it.
So my
All
website,
right,
everybody,
baby.
is www.trauma, the number 2, triumph.com. If you have a story that you want to share with the Trauma to Triumph project, please go to the
Mm-hmm.
website and click sign up, or I think it says share my story, and just browse the website. I'd love to get your feedback on the
Mm-hmm.
website. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Trauma, the number 2, Triumph, DOC, everywhere, and on Instagram. This live video will be on Instagram shortly, and it will also be on the YouTube channel. Next week, we will be back again at 8:30 with another amazing story of how
Mm-hmm.
we transitioned from trauma to triumph. And triumph, remember, doesn't mean wealthy. Triumph means I'm alive, I'm
Living.
living, I
Living.
still have my health and my strength, and
Mm-hmm.
I make it another day. That is triumph right there in and of itself.
Amen.
Just keep in mind that triumph doesn't mean that you are wealthy. It could mean a variety of things, including I still wake up every day. So I
That's
want y'all to
it.
keep that in mind and have a great rest of your weeks. And I'll see y'all again next Tuesday at 8:30. Thank you,
All
Tyra. Love
right.
you.
You are so welcome, baby. Love
Bye, y'all.
you. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.